Steven, what is your cutoff for buying a ticket to a game
What do you mean?
as far as price?
Oh, oh boy.
Tonight's game between the Warriors and Knicks is just to get in $565 smackaroonies. You putting up that coin if you had it?
Hell no.
So, like, what's your cutoff point then?
Oh man,
How much you go to a lot of concerts? You go to you go to a fair amount of sporting events, but like,
yes.
what do you draw the line at?
Oh, it all depends. For a moment like tonight, I'd say individual tickets, I'd go 300. 300 is probably my cutoff line. After that, it's bye-bye. I'm definitely not paying $560 or whatever you just mentioned for
$565, the highest ticket price in Knicks history
for a regular season game.
For a regular season game.
Yeah, awful. Not
Yeah.
good. So, no, I'm not doing that. What's your cutoff though?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. Like for this, I would not pay. I mean, it's a big deal tonight. Steph Curry, 2 3-pointers away from getting the all-time record. It would be a big deal. I would love to see this in person, and of all places, Madison Square Garden. But I'm not paying $565 for that. That's a little too much for me.
What's the chances that Steph just sits after, I don't know, 15 minutes because he's knocked down 2 threes early? They're just like, we don't need to play the entire game.
No, he's not sitting. He's playing the whole damn thing. Come on.
You think so?
Yes.
I don't know. He could be tired.
No, come on. Well, okay. So what went on with all of the getting in today in New York? They were laid over last night, or they were always going to leave this morning. I just saw Draymond's tweets. He's not happy about the whole situation to get into New York today.
They had mechanical issues.
Saw that
last night, and then
they stayed over.
They weren't supposed to leave till this morning. Yeah, exactly. And then the flight got delayed. So I don't know how the hell a flight gets delayed at this point. I don't know why they're not just figuring out, like, Joe Lacob fork over the money for a little private jet. I don't know. Even though he's already paying like $100 billion in luxury tax already.
He pays for enough already, Steven. Come on.
But it's just like involved in the luxury tax, should be a luxury plane. But in the I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'm surprised, I wonder if it would have gotten canceled though. If the game would have gotten canceled, possibly.
If they couldn't make it to the arena in time?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course.
I don't know.
All right. Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa, we're taking you up to tip off for the Warriors and Knicks, where hopefully, and he should, Steph Curry is going to break the all-time three-point record, and we're all excited for that. We'll get to that a little bit later, talk a little bit more about that at the end of the podcast, but let's just get right into it, Stephen. The Raiders season may be over in what was, I guess, the worst loss in franchise history by points, 48-9. That's what I was told. 48-9 is the worst loss differential in the Raiders' history. And my first reaction to that was, really? I remember worse losses than that. But in the end, Raiders lose 48-9. They drop down to 6-7. Or what are they right now? Are they 6-7 or are they worse? They're 6-7. Okay. So, Steven, give me your thoughts of the Raiders' terrible loss, 48-9, where they decided before the game to go to the middle of the field at Arrowhead and act like they owned that place, which they don't.
Don't forget 2014 when they lost to the Rams 52-0.
Oh, I remember that very well. Real quick, though, I lost last week in the picks contest. So I'm a man of my word, Steven. I'm sticking with the hot sauce. I got two options here from Yellowbird Sauce. We got blue agave sriracha, or we got a little habanero. A little smaller bottle. Doesn't mean that it doesn't have more kick to it. Just because it's small doesn't mean that it doesn't pack a punch.
Yeah, smaller bottle. You seem like you're trying to keep me away from the smaller bottle.
Well, this one's a little hotter. This one's hot, but this one actually is hotter.
If there's habanero in the name, we're picking that one.
All right, then I'm going to dab that on a little carrot, and you tell me your thoughts on the Raiders' 48-9 loss.
Real quick, what are you wearing? What's that?
Oh, this little getup. It's cold. It's cold in LA. We're getting a little rain. You guys getting a little rain in the Bay Area?
We got a lot of rain in the Bay Area
Okay.
right now.
We got a lot of rain last night into today. It's cold. I have no heating in my apartment like you. And I'm rocking this jacket's courtesy of Bonte Hill. He gave this to me a while ago. It's like an
Nice.
E40 Warriors jacket. And I thought, hey, it's it's right that I wear this tonight, so I'm rocking it.
It's pretty fly. I like it.
Thanks.
I would say that this game with the Raiders and the
Fine.
Chiefs was not the worst game Derek Carr's played in his career by any imagination. It's by any stretch. Is that a carrot?
Yeah. That's odd. Oh boy.
That's creative.
Ooh. I'll keep talking.
You sure?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the noisy cricket in Men in Black.
Oh man.
Jesus. All right. Sorry, go ahead.
Really packs a punch. Oh, but it was the worst loss in Derek Carr's career, not for him, but for the franchise and just the point where they're at with everything that happened this season, all leading up to it. And then you got this new free agent, Yannick Ngakoue, who's been so good for you on defense, but he decides he's going to take the team out to the logo and for some reason give the Kansas City Chiefs more motivation than they already have to go and beat the living crap out of you. And they started off with a forced fumble touchdown. Then the Raiders go six plays. I think they go 13 yards, take 2 minutes, 47 seconds off the clock. Then they punt it away. And then Hunter Renfrow fumbles and Josh Jacobs fumbles. Foster Moreau tips a pass for an interception. It was never ending. And then on top of that, Derek Carr is getting crushed by an offensive line that was built by the head coach who is gone. So yeah, it was the worst. It was the worst. And I don't know what it is with the Raiders and the Chiefs, but they cannot win against the Chiefs in their second meeting of a season. Every single meeting that ever since Derek Carr has been the starting quarterback, ever since 2014, and they've had 2 games against them each year, they can't win in the second game. And it is pitiful. It is shameful. And quite frankly, Derek, I'm not going to lie. I stopped watching. After the first half. I said, I'm
really?
done. Yes.
35 to nothing was enough for you?
35-3.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Hey, remember they kicked a field goal when they were down 35-0.
Hey, the Buffalo Bills came back from that. You never know, Steven. Would you have felt like an idiot if you turned that game off? You're like, holy shit, the Raiders came back. I totally missed it.
Yes, and that would have been one of those, sports radio conversations where were there any games that you lied about watching because you didn't watch it anymore? No, I didn't. But I stopped watching.
I don't think that's possible in our society today because we're so hooked on Twitter and social media that as soon as a comeback happens, you hear about it immediately and you go and watch it. Now, if you leave the stadium and you're at a game, that's where you're fucked. But
true.
Yeah. I'll tell you a little bit about my thoughts of the game. This game showed how scary the Kansas City Chiefs are because they have been not scoring a lot of points lately. They do against the Raiders. Their biggest offensive outputs have been against the Raiders this year, 41 points to 48 points. But prior to that, they just been kind of coasting along. Their defense has been playing great. I think 4 of the last 5 games, they've held opponents to single digits.
Yeah.
And the Raiders, it's crazy. I probably should never gamble because you asked me hypothetically, would I take the 9 points for the Raiders to cover? And no, not even close. Just a terrible game all around. When you're going to do that shit that Yannick Ngakoue wanted everybody to do, like, why did he think that was a good idea? From circling the buses last season to doing this shit now to just getting your ass kicked on the first fucking play. Josh Jacobs fumbles. Touchdown, Mike Hughes. The Raiders just had no answer all day. Derek Carr looks uncomfortable. Their offense just is Hunter Renfrow. That's it right now. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's the only guy you can rely on. And he had a fumble, but the whole offense just seems off. Foster Moreau bobbles a pass that goes for a pick. Yeah, they're just so out of whack right now. And I don't know. This team, I don't think, is making the playoffs now. And it's just been a hard season. Obviously, I don't want to harp on it every week, but they lost John Gruden. They lost Henry Ruggs. And you just have to ask yourselves, is it worth, doing this all over again? Now that they're 6-7, now it looks like, they're going towards another losing season. You never know, but it's hard to finish 8-8 now. You can't. You go either 9-8 or 8-9.
Ugh.
So, yeah, Steven, what do you think about the future of the Raiders now that this has been cemented that they cannot be the Kansas City Chiefs? Are
Derek
they
Carr.
are they ever going to be as good as the Kansas City Chiefs?
See, I don't know. I don't know. It seems like the Chiefs and the Chargers are trending in the right direction, and maybe the Raiders, I don't know, got a head start before Patrick Mahomes entered the league, but that was just a failure. Now the Chiefs are signing every single one of their players, and the only guy, like you mentioned, Hunter Renfrow, who's on his way to a 1,000-yard season this year, he's the only guy producing anything. I think the future of this team is going to be without Derek Carr, and it's not even Derek Carr's fault. I think Derek Carr made a huge mistake by saying before the season that if he's going to retire, he's going to do it as a Raider. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Why do you want to? Why do you want to attach yourself to this organization that has just done nothing but let you down year after year after year?
Because he's a good man, Steven.
I know, but I mean, you know what's funny? He is a Raider fan. He's like a Raider fan. No matter what the team does to you, no matter how much it breaks your heart, you stick around anyway.
Yep.
It's a weird.
Well, most of us, none of me, but yeah,
you're still around, Derek. You're still there.
No, I'm not, Steven. Yeah, man. It's just the offense has just gone in the shitter now. Like, it's just unbelievable. Like, they have no plan whatsoever. Yeah. Like I said, Hunter Renfrow is a great player, but if you're going to pay these white slot guys like Cooper Kupp, like, here's the thing. Cooper Kupp, he's a great wide receiver, and he's probably wide receiver of the year. He's going to put up all these stats. He still needs Odell Beckham or Robert Woods to make the offense complete. Same thing with Wes Welker. Wes Welker needed Randy Moss to make the offense complete. Same thing with Julian Edelman. He needed Rob Gronkowski.
Cole Beasley needs Stephon Diggs.
Exactly. For the Raiders offense to be explosive, they need a Henry Ruggs or they need Darren Waller healthy. So, I don't know, man. The season seems lost at this point. I feel bad. I was hoping that this was going to be different and they were going to go in the right direction, but so many factors now have just put them back where they've always been in the last couple seasons, where they get off to a hot start and then just totally shit the bed towards the end. And now you have to wonder about the future. Like, in the beginning of the season, we were wondering, the Kansas City Chiefs are going on their slide where they lost 3 games early. And you're wondering, like, could this be the year? And the Raiders just, no matter what, whether it was the Jack Del Rio Raiders or the John Gruden Raiders, they make all these moves to compete with the Chiefs. And in the end, they're not even on the same playing level.
Nope. And then you have a guy like Justin Herbert throwing 70-yard bombs.
That was a beautiful pass. That was quite possibly the throw of the year. Just him. He knows he's going to get hit. Just going to his right, flicking it, and gets it to Jalen Guyton, who saved me in fantasy. Good God.
I've had did you see who I was starting at my running back in our league?
No. Who'd you give?
I don't even.
You mean the Tickle My Butthole League?
Yeah. Yes. That freaking league. Hang on. Let me pull it up here.
Are you out of the playoffs like the Raiders right now?
Oh yeah. I am. I'm basically the Raiders. I'm a fringe team, a fringe consolation team is what I am.
Okay.
Let me pull it up. I'm completely out of it, but who was I using? Oh, come on. All right. 2 guys from the Lions, Jamar Jefferson and Godwin Igwebuike.
Yeah, I mean, you're butchering the name, but I know I've done enough fantasy shows now where I know who these people are.
I was starting 2 Lions running backs because at the last second, everyone either went into a reserve COVID list or was injured. So
COVID's getting bad, man. In the NFL, we had 37 cases yesterday. I had to start Tyler Higbee yesterday. He didn't even play.
Yeah, 25 new cases today.
Yeah, it's not good right now.
No, and that's the thing is the Raiders could be 7-7 just because the Browns have 8 different players on the reserve COVID list. some big ones too, like Jedrick Wills and J.C. Trotter, and I think that's his name. And then
Yeah. Jarvis
Jarvis
Landry.
I mean, Austin Hooper, another
Yeah.
one, Tack McKinley. There's a lot of guys on there. And it's just not looking good, man.
No, it's not looking good. Not looking good for the Raiders either. So they lose 48-9, and we'll see how the season goes forward because there's 4 games left. There's 5 games left. God, this new season is throwing me off. Regardless, they just need to show some fight towards the last however remaining games are left in the season. They just need to show some fight that this is not indicative of their entire season to lose to their most heated rival 48-9. Just they got to show some fight to see who remains with the team next season. If they'll, Mayock will come back. If Derek Carr will come back, I would want all those guys to come back. I just think they need to change a lot of things to compete with the Chiefs. That's just
what's funny? Someone mentioned this in talking about the Khalil Mack trade. Everyone's always looking at the draft picks that they got in compensation for him. Not Jonathan Abrams so much, but like the Damon Arnett pick and Josh Jacobs, whoever else it was. I forgot at this point. I think Brian Edwards was involved too. But it's the free agents that they signed instead of Khalil Mack. And you make like John Gruden said, oh, well, you pay Khalil Mack. You don't have room to pay Trent Brown. You don't have room to pay LaMarcus Joyner. You don't have room to pay Tyrell Williams. You don't have room to pay all these guys that are off the team. And then I'm looking at their free agent class from a couple of years ago, and Corey Littleton is now playing 19 defensive snaps, which was like 28% of them. This dude has fallen completely out of favor. You were paying him $11.5 million a year, and he's done nothing for you. Like, this team needs a complete overhaul. Like, that's just, I mean, not complete.
So you want to start from scratch?
Not start from scratch, because the defense has life, but they need to do something and retool that offense and get them back to, at least winning football games, and then maybe playing stopper in the playoffs, playing the heartbreaker that a lot of teams do now, because they're never going to be favored. I've come to terms with that. They're never going to be the top of the AFC West, at least not for another decade.
Ooh, well, I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either. But that's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm feeling right now. I'm making
sending it back as soon as you send it out.
Yeah, well, I'm making hyperbolic statements because I'm sad. Sorry.
Is that how you would say that? Hyperbolic statements?
I guess.
Like a hyperbaric chamber?
Hyperbole, hyperbolic.
Is that how you say that?
It's a different phrasing. Is that?
I don't know. I'm not so sure. Let's move on to the 49ers. They win 26-23 in overtime. Steven, what'd you think of the Niners almost shitting the bed, but coming back to beat the Cincinnati Bengals in a similar score of their first Super Bowl win?
I've been going back and forth on it, because I look at that game and there were just so many little moments that could have changed everything. If there wasn't a taunting penalty on that safety opposite Jesse Bates, where
Von Bell,
Von
Lord,
Bell completely set them back. If those 5 fumbles didn't happen in the first half by the Bengals, what would we be looking at? If Jamar Chase completed that touchdown toward the end of the first half, if Jesse Bates would have caught that pick 6 to walk off the game, there were so many little moments where the 49ers could have lost that one. And as much as, I thought Jimmy Garoppolo played a good game and George Kittle continues to be a monster, and Brandon Ayuk made that unreal play in overtime to get the touchdown, there were so many opportunities for the 49ers to squander that one, or for the Bengals to squander that one, and they still kind of remained in it. I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't coming away from that win feeling that great about the 49ers, to be honest with you.
I think differently. Despite the fact that they dominated for most of the game, I would say 3 quarters, the Bengals came back. The Niners got lucky on a lot of things, but in the end, for them to persevere and get that victory, I think will go a long way. Yeah. And considering the NFC is not really loaded as far as the wildcard teams, there's the LA Rams, there's a whole bunch of other teams that I don't think are that great.
Right.
Vikings are in the mix, Eagles are in the mix, Saints are in the mix. They could all make the playoffs. I don't think they're as good as the Niners. So for them to get that victory in Cincinnati, I think is a big deal. But Debo's return, I think, made all the difference. He gives that offense life. The Bengals have looked sloppy since they played the Raiders, just giving turnovers away. They did it last week against the Chargers. They do it to the Niners this week. And Jimmy actually took a deep shot, but it was dropped by Travis Benjamin. For once, he actually took like an accurate deep shot.
Was
it was
that
dropped.
accurate? Was that accurate?
Yeah, laid at his hands.
If the ball would have been thrown like 5 yards further, though, then that actually would have been a touchdown if you would have led Travis Benjamin on.
Can we give hold on? Can we give Jimmy? Can we cut him a break? He delivered on a deep pass,
but he didn't do it in stride. Like, what's a deep pass if a guy's like just having to come back and backtrack for it?
Travis Benjamin could have caught that pass.
He beat Awuzie off the break on his route, and he had him beat. And then Awuzie had an opportunity to come back and close in on that ball because Garoppolo can't throw it hard. Like he floated that thing up there. I give him all the credit in the world, sure, for throwing a deep pass, but I don't know, man.
Maybe I give more credit to Kyle Shanahan for actually attempting a deep pass.
I don't know. I don't know, but you're right though, because 49er fans, that team does not have any room to lose right now. And if they would have lost that game against the Bengals, I mean, look, it's not like you got an unbelievable hard schedule these next few games. I mean, 2 out of the 4 are against the Texans and the Falcons, which I think they can get wins with. But
it'll be hard for me to pick against them the next couple weeks.
Yeah, you needed that. You needed that win. But at the same time, though, the reason I say I don't feel like great coming off of that game is, sure, they have the tools to stop teams in the playoffs, but you got to hope those other teams don't play mistake-free football. Because if the other team plays disciplined and it's just mano a mano, I don't know, man. I don't know. The last 2 weeks with the Seahawks and the Bengals both, the opposition has just been so sloppy. So
yeah,
I don't really know what to read from it, but the win's a win. And that Ayuk touchdown, man, I don't know how the hell he scored that. I don't know how he kept in bounds. I don't know how he had the wherewithal to put the ball within the pylon. Just an unbelievable play by Ayuk there.
I'll get to the Ayuk touchdown in a little bit here because I want to get your opinion on something. But just to give my thoughts on the rest of the game, taunting penalty was ridiculous by Von Bell. Not because I thought that he did anything wrong. I think it's just stupid to call that penalty right there. I think we're getting way too into the referees just being like, we got to uphold the integrity of the game. We're going to throw a flag just because a guy is talking shit. That's just ridiculous to me. George Kittle is the best tight end in football, in my opinion. When he is healthy and then his ability to block and catch passes, I don't think there's anybody better. I think Travis Kelce's very good. I think Darren Waller is very good. But as far as the complete package, I think George Kittle is the best tight end in football. Nick Bosa is having a Defensive Player of the Year season. I think he's got, 15 sacks? He's just below he's got 14. So he's below
14.
Myles Garrett and TJ Watt right now. He's in the mix. I don't know if he'll win it, but he's having a very, very good season. And yeah, the Niners got lucky because Jamar Chase dropped that first touchdown. Aubrey, what was it? His name Aubrey Thomas, the rookie corner. He could not cover Jamar Chase. I'm surprised they didn't give the ball to him in overtime. That probably would have made the difference. But they got lucky there because they had no answers for deep passes with Jamar Chase. And it was similar to the Seahawks game where they dominated for most of the game and they kind of pissed it away in the end. But they managed to play well in overtime and they get the victory. So kudos to the Niners. Right now, I would say they're probably a playoff team, but that just may be by default. I don't think they're a spectacular team. I don't think they're a great team. But right now, they look like, currently as they are right now, the 6th seed in the NFC.
Yeah. Yeah. And they have room to even get better next season. Like, I don't think 49er fans were thinking too highly of this year, especially after that loss to the Cardinals with Colt McCoy. After that, it was the season's over, blah, blah, blah. But the NFL season goes on and it's 17 games. If the Rams would have lost that one last night, there's a chance that we're on this podcast talking about a possible second place within the NFC West for the 49ers if the Rams continued to collapse, but they got that big win last night thanks to Matt Stafford just heaving bombs. And the Cardinals also mismanaging the game toward the end. And that's also what I want. That's also what I think with the Bengals, though, and Zach Taylor. There were 2 opportunities that he had to go for it on 4th down when he was deep in 49ers territory. He had a 4th and 1 when he was on their I want to say he was within the red zone or just outside of the red zone for the Niners, and he elected to kick the field goal. Then there was a moment toward the end of the first half where he elected to kick the field goal instead of going for it on 4th and 2. And then I know Joe Mixon was hurt and he was questionable going into that game, but they kept running it with P. Ryan.
Samaji?
P. Ryan had 4 carries in that game, and I counted at least 2 of them, which were on 3rd down. It's 3rd and 4, and you're running it with P. Ryan. Like, what are you doing? Pass the ball.
Joe Mixon's a little banged up too. No, I know. I mean, it's not perfect play calling. They've been weird lately. I don't know, and they may be trying to save a little bit with Joe Burrow's pinky. I don't know what's going on there. They look a little sloppy lately. There's some questionable play calling, but in the end, they got to overtime. They lost. They should have probably won that game, but Niners win. And I gotta say, do you like? Okay, have you heard my dad's touchdown call on the final one there?
Yeah.
Ayuk is on fire.
Oh no, I haven't heard that. Oh boy.
What do you think about that? Him and Tim Ryan break into a parody of The Roof. The Roof is on fire with Ayuk is on fire.
I mean, that by no means measures up to that's Amari with Amari Cooper.
There's a lot of good, a lot of better corny ones.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always thought it was funny when your dad got that one out. But Ayuk is on fire. That's the one he decided to go with.
Well, that's the thing. So he talks about it on the show, like that's like his go-to thing when Ayuk has a big play. And I think Tim Ryan's the one that pushes it during the game where my dad's like, I don't want to say that, but they end up doing that. They chanted that at the end of the game.
Yeah. What is it? What is it then? We don't need no Kendrick Bourne with that. I don't know, something like that at the end.
Yeah. If they were, if they were more free on their, terrestrial radio broadcast, they could drop that F-bomb there. Let's move on to the NFL overall in Week 14. So it started on Thursday. We both differed on the Vikings and Steelers game, and that game was interesting because the Vikings had a 29-0 lead, and you were looking good for a while. And then the Steelers stormed back to make it a one-possession game. In the end, the Vikings win 36-28. And I think we may have to start doing a segment where I name my jackass of the week, because I think I would give that award to Chase Claypool at the moment. Good Lord, man. What are you doing? You catch a pass on 4th and 1. The clock is running. You have to do like the stupid first down. And then you get all pissy with Trey Turner because he knocks the ball out of your hands because we're trying to get to the line on time. Then the post-game press conference, he's like, yeah, we lost time because the ball was knocked out of my hands. Dude, take some accountability. Good Lord. Chase Claypool, jackass of the week.
It's a teaching moment for him, though. A lot of people were going off on him after that, saying that he's not going to be any Juju Smith-Schuster. Get him off the team, something like that.
He's kind of being like Juju Smith-Schuster. Might as well TikTok in the middle of a play.
These guys can learn, though. I give them the benefit of the doubt, but you're right. It was stupid. It was really stupid the way that he handled that. Go back to 2014. Go back to Oakland when the Raiders are playing the Chiefs. Yeah. And C.O. Moore and Khalil Mack complete a sack.
But they were young.
Justin Tuck is having to play spoiler and just say, hey, you're having a good time here, but we can't do this or else we're going to be called offsides, which we were. And then he had to call a timeout in that situation. Yeah. But
I remember it well.
Claypool, though, he's young.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, take some accountability for it, dude.
I know. That's hard to do, though. That's hard to do, especially in that moment. But he knows, though. He's 23 years old. He'll learn.
I know he's very young, and we live in a new day and age. Mike Tomlin had the best response to it, though. It was like, if he doesn't make time to mature, then we won't make time for him.
Wow. That at least he made sense with that. There's one guy. God, I wish I could give him the credit. He's on Twitter, though, and he does a Mike Tomlin impression, and he comes out and he has like the beard and he has the hat, the sweater and everything. And he comes out and his opening line, he pretends he's Mike Tomlin at a press conference. And he's like, pretends he's like chewing gum or something like that. He's like, trying to give myself brain freeze here. All right. My dad told me you can measure the strength of a man if you put the remote control down and you're home before 6. Because he just comes up with all these random cliches out of nowhere. Anyway,
he he doesn't like music at practice. That's been established.
Yes, nor Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward
Yes.
not happy.
That's
Oh
what I'm
boy.
saying, though. Like Chase Claypool's like, we should put more music, at practice. I should be able to celebrate after I make a play on fourth down and the clock's running. Just, and I know he's young, but just like seeing little shit like that, it's like, come on, dude.
Well, the music at practice, a lot. I think, I mean, he's probably talking to other teammates and, hearing how fun their practices are because they're a young team. I mean, you got the Niners bumping Lil Wayne's entire catalog throughout their practice. I was at the one at Levi Stadium, their open practice or whatever, and it was just nonstop Lil Wayne, banger after banger after banger. It was like, a minute, a minute, a minute, as Kyle Shanahan's like whistling to get practice started. Maybe he's heard from other teammates though. Just said, "Hey, want this to be a little looser. Why can't we play music at practice? That looks so cool."
Yeah, it may not be something to do during the season, though, but I hear you.
No, it is not. No, it is not. I'm not trying to back him up here. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to reason with these 23-year-olds, all right? With these
You're
young
playing you're playing devil's advocate to my jackass of the week. All right. Going through the other stuff that happened in week 14, Browns barely beat the Ravens with no Lamar Jackson. We'll see what happens. He's got a ankle sprain. And there's a big matchup between the Ravens and Packers this week. So we'll see what happens there. Titans blanked the Jaguars. And Urban Meyer looked like he wanted no part of it after the game, amidst all the rumors that's going on with him in meetings where apparently he's been calling his assistant coaches losers. It sounds like all my closed door meetings at 95.7 The Game. Steven, what do you think about Urban Meyer lately?
Can I have a jackass of the week too?
Sure, go for it. Is it Urban Meyer?
It would definitely be Urban Meyer if I had to choose one, because that question at his press conference that he was asked, where I don't know who it was. I don't know which reporter it was.
Hold on. I got a name.
You got the name?
Yeah. I texted the only Jaguars fan I know.
Oh, of course.
And he told me that is Mark Long of the AP.
Well, shout out Mark Long of the AP saying your offensive line, their asses are getting kicked and you're putting in a bunch of money on them and they cost a lot. What's the deal there? And he just goes, yeah.
I mean, honestly,
respond.
No, but honestly, if I'm Urban Meyer, I respond the same way. I'm like, who are you, Mark Long? Chill out for a second, dude.
I mean, Mark Long is clearly a Jags fan, a long-suffering Jags fan.
Diehard.
Who is pissed.
Oh, yeah. It runs in the Long family. Chris Long, Howie Long. I'm just assuming he's a part of that family. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, he and then in the press conference, he's like, if I find out who's leaking information here, he's gone. He's gone by tomorrow. Jeez. And yeah, I mean, Tom Pelissero's report seems credible. I love a meeting where he tells other people, I'm a winner and all of you are losers. And that's going to motivate people. Like a Jim Carrey, like, loser.
Do you believe it? Do you believe that he did that?
I don't know if it was like that blatant. I believe the other stuff, like he had a heated argument with Marvin Jones. And it's funny that Trevor Lawrence has to go to Urban Meyer and be like, we need James Robinson to run the ball. Yeah, I mean, sure. If that's how he gets a rise out of his coaches by saying you're all losers, yeah, sure. Go for it, Herbs.
Jeez, what a loser. That's a loser thing to do.
Exactly.
By the way, when I was watching the Niner game, this was something crazy that happened because you see some similarities in football all the time. So I had the Niners and had the Niners Bengals on the big TV, had the Bucks Bills on the small TV or on the laptop. And I just there was a timeout in play, whatever it was. And I look over at the Bucks and Bills, and there's a play where they're not in the red zone. I think they're right. They're just at the 30. I think they're maybe at the 28, 29-yard line, whatever it is. And there's a play where with 8 minutes and 4 seconds left to go in the second quarter, Tom Brady heaves it up to Rob Gronkowski, who's 11 yards down the right sideline. And the defender's all over him, has his left arm just completely locked, and they get called a DPI on it. And then the Buccaneers go on to score. They make it 17-3. Then you're at the 49ers, and right as it happens, also with 8:04 left on the clock and in a third down situation too. I didn't mention that the Bucs were in third down. In a third down situation, They pass deep right to George Kittle, and it was a dime by Jimmy. If he would have completed that pass, like you talk about the deep pass to Travis Benjamin, there was
Mhm.
this pass to George Kittle where there was a no
Yeah.
call there on a PI. But I just found it fascinating because it was also 10-3 in that game. And if they would have called that a DPI, that would have changed the whole complexity of the first half. And I think they would have actually had a 17-3 lead with the Bengals getting the ball back with maybe 5 minutes to go. Who knows? But literally the exact same time,
Yeah.
exact same play on third down. And it goes to show how much of a difference one of those little calls can make in an entire game. Because if that
Yep.
doesn't happen and they don't go up 17-3, who knows, man? Maybe the Bills come all the way back and we're seeing the Bills out on top of the Buccaneers, man. It was crazy.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. They were up 24-3, and then Josh Allen and the Bills just stormed back, make it 2027 all in overtime. And then a questionable pass interference call with Mike Evans and Levi Wallace in overtime, which leads to Brashard Perryman having the slowest, longest touchdown in overtime on Edmonds, who could not keep up with him. I will say this, even though we both expected the Bills to lose that game, I didn't expect it to be like that, 24-3. You're like, come on, guys. Like, you're all fired up with the media calling you out like you're embarrassed because you got run on literally every single play the week before. And you come out and lay a stinker right away. But I am impressed the fact that they came back to tie that game up. They just didn't take that loss like they did just lying down. So I will say this, even though the Bills don't look great right now, and we don't know what's going on with Josh Allen and the walking boot, I like them going forward. I don't know if they'll win the division. I don't know if you know what. I don't know if they'll win the division. They play the Patriots in a couple of weeks. I would expect them to win that game because they seem pissed off after getting run on by the Patriots, and they may force Mac Jones to throw for once. I would not be the least bit surprised if the Bills make it to the playoffs as a wild card team, or even win the division. Who knows? And make some noise. Because like every time this around this year, we expect a team that like loses a couple games to be like, oh, they're not going to do anything. They'll make the playoffs, but they're not going to do anything. Like the Buccaneers last year, that went 7-5 or whatever the record was at a certain point, and then they just rattle off some wins and never lost again. It's just like the NFL. It's not the best team going into the playoffs. It's just the hottest team.
Right. And I think the AFC right now, though, is just wide open.
Yeah.
Wide open. I don't really see a total favorite. Of course, I'd like to take Bill Belichick and the Patriots or Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs,
You
but
don't think it's the Chiefs after the shellacking they gave the Raiders?
well, no, I think the Chiefs could be a good team within the playoffs, but I'm saying, man, I don't even know. Like I just don't know because for all I know, their defense could fall apart like it did in the beginning of the season and made people lose faith in them. Those wins against the Raiders are so big that the Raiders have just given them their point differential for the season. Like whatever that plus number is in the standings. I don't even know what it is, but whatever it is, I give the Raiders credit for about 60 of those. It's just I don't know what to make of the AFC right now. And then you got the thing happening with the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. Who knows what is going to happen with him and his ankle?
Yeah. It's weird. I can't make, I think the Chiefs are really good. If I had to say right now, they're probably the best team in the AFC. But is it
Yeah.
more so just that they have their best outings against the Raiders? Because, like, offensively, they haven't looked great in every other game besides the Raiders. So maybe it's just the Raiders defense, who that we thought was so good, is just not good right now. It's easy for Patrick Mahomes to put up 40 points.
Have you ever seen a team like that? You ever seen a team like the Raiders where they they give you so much hope at the beginning of the season? And they've done this for 3 years now. This has been a pattern
Mm-hmm.
where they start off strong. We as fans hate the NFL because of their schedule and say that the schedule is bullshit. Why is it so tough? Then they get through that tough part of the schedule and they come out 6-2 or something or 4-2. And then you're like, whoa, this Raiders team, what are they doing? The Chiefs start losing. And then when it comes to the end of November toward December, you just start losing and losing badly to the point where it's embarrassing and to the point where your team just looks like they've given up. Maybe that's just what playing the Chiefs does.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, man. But I think that has a big part to do with it, though. The Chiefs' success is the fact that they played the Raiders twice.
Yeah, definitely. And if for my money right now, it's them and the Patriots as the two best teams in the AFC right now. The rest of it, I really don't know. But I do like the Bills going forward, even though they lost. I did like the fight they put up in the end. Just finishing off the rest of the Week 14 extravaganza, the Saints get back Alvin Kamara, and they win despite not having Kevin James. They beat the Jets thoroughly. Did you see that trailer today?
Yeah, what is
Let's
that?
talk about that the next podcast because I want to get into that because that just looks terrible. Looks just terrible.
Isn't he playing Sean McVay?
He's playing no, Sean Payton.
Sean Payton, excuse me. My bad.
Yeah, he's we're supposed to buy Kevin James as Sean Payton. Give me a fucking break. All right. Cowboys beat Washington. That pretty much was the difference in our picks this week. Micah Parsons, fantastic game. Dak looking a little sketchy of late, but they get the victory. We talked about Justin Herbert earlier. Oh, sorry, that was my alarm. Chargers beat the Giants thoroughly. Justin Herbert with that fantastic pass. They look like they're in the playoff mix as far. I mean, they still could win the division. There's a big matchup between the Chiefs and Chargers this Thursday. We talked about the Bucs and Bills. Great game. Aaron Rodgers, despite his toe, just dominates the Bears. He still owns them. And then last night, the Rams, despite having a plethora of guys out with the COVID stuff, Stafford looked fantastic. Anybody that's saying that Jared Goff could have done the same stuff with the Rams is just ridiculous. The 2 touchdown throws he had last night, he had 3 in total, but the long one to Vance Jefferson and the one in the corner to Cooper Kupp were just beautiful. Kingsbury totally fucked up that game last night. Should have kicked the field goal way sooner. And real quick, did you know that this was a great play by Odell? Did you know that if you run backwards out of bounds, that does not stop the clock? It keeps it running. Did you know that rule?
No.
I did not know that. And good for Odell. That happened last night. They're trying to run the clock. Odell he catches like a zero route. He stopped at the line. His defender pushes him back. And instead of going forward, he runs backwards. He then signals to the refs, clock run down. And they gave it to him. And it was just the best reaction from Matthew Stafford being like, what the fuck are you doing? Oh, hey, good play. Great win by the Rams. I don't know what that means for the Cardinals. I think it'll be hard for the Cardinals not to win the NFC West at this point. Yeah. But the Rams could definitely make some noise as a wild card team going forward. But they got a bunch of COVID stuff going on today.
Dude, what's that? The one beef that people have with athletes in general is
not knowing the rules.
It's not only that, but the way that people cover athletes, it's that there's a narrative, surrounding them, and people just use certain stories and certain things that happen in their lives to fit that narrative. And it's the same with Matthew Stafford. Everybody has this specific narrative about him that he's not a winner. So anytime they lose, it's, this is looking like Detroit Lions Matthew Stafford. He throws an interception. This is looking like Lions Matthew Stafford. No, he's just Matthew Stafford when he throws an interception. He's still winning. He still is going to get into the double digits with this Rams team. They're still going to make the playoffs. And this is a point now where Matthew Stafford, he might have some new life. Odell Beckham looked good yesterday.
He looked great.
If you like you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, if you can get a number 2 guy along with Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee back, Sony Michel was running hard yesterday. That offensive line was looking good. Aaron Donald was blowing up plays, and maybe you get Jalen Ramsey back. Dude, that Rams team, they're going to be – I don't know how they'll be in the playoffs. I don't know if they're like the Utah Jazz of the NFL where they're a good regular season team and suck in the playoffs.
Just a lot more stars.
That could be the case, but they looked good last night, I thought. And the Cardinals, if DeAndre Hopkins doesn't drop a third down pass for the first time in his life.
He spazzed out there. Good Lord.
Yeah. If that doesn't happen for the first time in his life, shoot. I mean, AJ Green looked great yesterday, but also AJ Green was looking awesome.
Oh, yeah, no, he looked good.
My God.
The whole NFC West looks good. I mean, if the Seahawks were healthy, they'd be a different story right now, too.
Yeah.
All right, Steven. The Warriors have hit the court, and looks like Steph Curry is 2 away from getting the record. He hasn't attempted a free 3 yet, so let's let people watch the game. Real quick, when do you think he breaks this? What quarter?
I'm going the first. I think he's done in the first quarter.
All right. We'll see what happens here. We'll be back on Friday for a special podcast. I'm going to the Chargers Chiefs game, so we'll figure out when we do the old podcast this week. But we'll be joined by Steph's trainer, Brandon Payne, is going to join us on the next podcast. But until then, thanks for joining us. Steph Curry is officially 1 away. He just tied the great Ray Allen, so he's 1 away.
Yeah,
We'll let people get to it. All right, Steven, as you always say,
it's just our opinion, man. What the hell was that?